Absolutely, going to throw away the ban onto Petal. It allows him to get those power picks through. Kensei, obviously going to be the answer ban. You don't ever allow I'm the Doom to play Kensei. I mean, I wouldn't allow it against any team, never mind Qlash.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the other thing is with these bans, now they have to decide, you know, Kinetic is an option, but then there's Churnwalker, there's, you know, the Fortress that we saw a lot of teams banning throughout the tournament. So there's so many things that they have to choose. What do we leave open and what do we try and take for ourselves?
So Churnwalker is going to be the first pick. It's been a high priority pick. We haven't seen it much yesterday. We've seen it quite a lot over the last couple of weeks, though, and it's something that the top teams especially, and let's bear in mind, we're in the championship right now. We're in the final. These are the top teams. Churnwalker, incredibly strong in the early game. It means that you can control what is happening on the map. It means that you kind of buff your entire team with the damage share.
Yeah, and so I like the fact that they did go for the Fortress ban there instead and say, you know what, you can have Churnwalker, we're going to take Kinetic. It was going to be one of the other two. Oh, was it? Okay, it looks like Fortress from where I'm sitting. Because I have terrible distance
They are
vision.
very small bands. They are very small bands. It's going to be Kinetic and Samuel are going to be the follow-up picks. So SLY going straight with carries.
The fact that it's a jump draw ban actually makes even more sense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the jump draw ban, yeah. I mean, Fortress has been a pick we've seen a lot less of yesterday than in previous weeks. Kestrel going to be locked in by Qlash. It's got to be I'm the Doom, right? You expect that to be I'm the Doom.
It almost has to be for I'm the Doom. A lot of teams have been, you know, a couple teams actually picked up the Kestrel yesterday, didn't perform that well with it. We'll see if I'm the Doom is going to be able to continue to keep his claim of best Kestrel world.
I've never seen I'm the Doom play badly on Kestrel, but also I love the Catherine pick that they follow up with here because Catherine is a fantastic pick against Kestrel because she can reflect the burst damage that Kestrel will put out. Catherine's decent. It's not like a priority pick, but when you're locking in Kestrel, why not lock in the counter? You can send it to the top lane, but it means that I'm the Doom has a little bit more free reign.
Yeah, not only that, but Catherine just does well against AoE compositions because of the fact that you can't choose to not target her when she has that Stormguard bubble up. So that's I think she's a really good pick into Samuel for that reason as well. Anything that has stuns is good into Samuel because you can then try and stop him from being able to stay in his Drifting Dark. The Lorelei, I think, is a really smart pick as well because there are multiple stuns on the side of Qlash, so they needed something to be able to cleanse that stun off of a Malign or off of the Kinetic if they do get caught.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how they're going to round this one out. Celeste will be the lock-in for mid lane, and then they're going to finish it off with a Reza as well. Pretty aggressive composition coming out from Qlash. That's sort of what you expect at this stage. If you've not been watching the rest of the tournament, Qlash is a team that wants to take the fight to their opponents, and this composition is going to prove it.
Yeah, the final pick will be coming in shortly for the side of SLY, excuse me. And they're going to need something that has some tankiness. I was going to say Arden, that is what they do lock in the end. So it makes a lot of sense. Again, you needed that tankiness, and he's one of the tankier heroes. It's Arden and Lance and Finn are really your three choices for if you need a tanky captain-like hero. And so Arden just provides so much extra utility.
Absolutely, and you expect him to be kind of the front line for the team. Aside from Arden, it's a very squishy, well, it's like pseudo-squishy, because there is Lorelei, Water Wall, stops any squishy from being squishy.
Samuel isn't exactly squishy either. He has so much durability in the middle of a team fight. So there is a good amount of survivability on this team. Kinetic can stay so far back. Malign can just drop into the shadows when need to, escape. So they do have a lot of tools to escape if a fight does start turning south.
Yeah, and those Lorelei water walls are going to be crucial because when you look at the roster that Qlash is bringing to the table, when you've got Reza to jump onto the back line, plus all of the CC, that you're going to have to keep those carries alive. It's going to be a difficult challenge.
It absolutely is, but we are just about ready to get into game. The finals are underway.
Absolutely, it's our championship game. It's Qlash going up against SLY.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the VPL Summer Open Finals. My name is Humanist. I'm joined by the one and only Excoundrel. Excoundrel, how you doing, my man?
Oh, dude, I'm feeling great. That felt like a wrestling intro for me right there. I'm happy with that. Thanks, buddy.
Oh man, I'm gonna get some flack for that. People don't like their wrestling intros, but we are in the finals, and it deserves a little bit of hype here.
Yeah, and you can also see that we've got interesting team compositions coming through. Now, Disown playing his Celeste, it's a very, very good pick for him. But more importantly, I'm the Doom playing the Kestrel. Now, whilst it's got the weapon power built in sort of the early portion here, I have seen a lot of hybrid Kestrels. I've also seen sort of CP Kestrels build weapon power early on and so then can transition into CP. So we'll have to see where Doom decides to go. He looks like he's playing bot lane weapon power Kestrel though, so that could be more likely here. And it's definitely a really good pick for Doom. He's classically been known for being a weapon power or just Kestrel player in general. And his CP Kestrel was especially very well known in the 3v3 days.
Yeah, he's a pretty amazing Kestrel player in general. But as I was looking at, I was looking at the left half of the map for that Crystal Trance skirmish, but it was actually Sneaky who snuck away the Crystal buff from I'm the Doom.
Yeah, and I think they also lost. Yeah, they lost that one on the right-hand side there, like you said. So I'm the Doom didn't manage to pick that up, and actually that gives a small experience advantage over to Sneaky, which is actually really important because in that bot lane where you do have the 2 versus 1 meta right now, where you still have Agony and Doom going to be looking to gang up on Sneaky, any experience that you can get is going to be good, because you classically are starved out of experience in this particular lane. So if you pick up that Crystal Treant buff, that's going to maybe give you a level advantage when they look to dive you. That might even give you the extra HP necessary to keep you safe as well.
Well, things pretty quiet across the map. Besides that early invade for those Crystal buffs, people have fanned out across the map. Sneaky was able to go ahead and recall back. Picks up his Stormguard banner. This will make his lane incredibly easy, barring that he doesn't take too much damage. In mid lane, Drifting Dark from Cracks. So nice Torment in from Leon, pulling 3 with the hook and chains out. As Fontu squares up on Disown. Disown to squishy Celeste at this point. Leon continues with the hook and chains. The Torment taking Nomad Vagabond incredibly low. This is pretty much Healing Flask forced out of everybody in this lane, except for Maline there.
Yeah, and I think... Oh, wait a second.
Whoa! Agony! I didn't see that coming.
No, nor did I, and that was a quick first kill there for Qlash. It's something else that we haven't noted is that Leon playing the Churnwalker. There have been times in Qlash, especially when we saw them back in the EPL, where they didn't quite have the same success. They stuck Leon on Churnwalker, and Leon is a godlike Churnwalker. You could see right there, tanking 3 members. When you've got those 3 hook and chains enabled, it gives you so much sustain, even through the natural damage that the hook and chains do. And so he was able to tank up the majority of the players from SLY. Now, I feel like we're talking a lot about Qlash here. They're obviously the favorites coming into this particular matchup, but SLY beating Queso and getting here as well in the first place is a massive achievement for them. And if you look at their composition, they have a really good, what I like to call escalator composition, Humanist, where you have really good early game in the form of the Samuel. He then transitions well into the mid game, as does Maline, and then you have that late game powerhouse in the form of the weapon power Kinetic.
Oh, the escalator. I get it. It's like you're stepping up. It's like you can ramp up into that late game carry.
Exactly.
I didn't know if it's like someone's going to escalate the situation.
Oh, well, you're escalating to the late game. It's kind of like some people draft compositions that are particularly all late game or all early game. This gives you this nice blend of both.
Here. Oh, yeah, we definitely can come back to this. It feels like it potentially will be a kill. Solicitude getting lit up, and that will be the second kill of the game. This one going to the zone, a very important kill to get on that Celeste.
Yeah, absolutely, and he was able to do that because he's been able to shove that wave in the mid lane. They made him sort of I like to call it a guilt-free rotation towards the top lane because you don't lose too much the tower. You could see that Cracks and Nomad were not in the right position to be able to respond to that. Their only response was to rotate and push that mid lane up as much as they could, but unfortunately they really only denied about 3 or 4 minions away from Disown, so that was a really slick rotation from Qlash, and SLY right now look like they're on the back foot.
Yeah, I like that. Guild-free rotation. Plus, Agony actually cleaned up the last 2 that were under turret there. So it's a nice efficiency rotation once again. Qlash in position to contest over on this Crystal Treant. This is going to be a 4 versus 4 situation. 1 hero from each team staying in that top lane. A lot of damage coming out. Let's jump in deep here from Agony. With that Netherform detonator, they're able to take down Samuel, looking for Sneaky. Sneaky's low. They won't go for it. Level 4 is Fontu. Sneaky as well. Nomad Vagabond level 4. This is pretty insane level advantage over to Qlash.
Yeah, I mean, the level advantage is doing all the work, like you said, Humanist. You could talk about the fact that realistically, at this stage in the game, Samuel should be punching more than a Celeste could, especially if you have a look at the items that they had at that time. There was no real major advantage for Disowned, because he's sitting on about 1,600 gold right now. Whereas Cracks, you know, he had a decent amount of items. That should have been a position where he was able to use that small enclosed space around the Crystal Treant buff to be able to win that team fight out with the Drifting Dark and Malice and Verdict. But they're just too far behind in levels. If I was Sly and I was going to rethink how I approach that particular engage, I'd say, look, we're losing versus Qlash right now in team fights. Let's just go take their blue buff and trade blue buff for blue buff.
Right now, Cracks maybe thinking about an invade, but they are late to the party, and Cracks is going to get punished. Wow. Little overzealous there. Late to the engage, but Leon and Disowned are in the right place at the right time. And that's what feels bad, man. You're on the back foot. You try to make something happen. You're out of the rhythm of the game, and you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, Qlash just looking at the outclass at every single moment right now. They're going to take the Ghost Wing as soon as it spawns, which is obviously going to set them up really nicely heading into the next sort of 3 minutes of this game. Have that extra damage to the structures. Wait a second, another rotation.
It was a trust pass into a core collapse. Esvanto had nowhere to go.
I want you to take a look
at the steal. Is Sneaky gonna get the steal? Oh, he's not gonna get the steal, but it was a nice attempt anyway. Agony low on health with I Am the Doom moving forward. There's a Drifting Dark from Samuel, but they don't even care. Cracks isolated from his team as the Blast Trimmer comes out. Silence on a Solicitude. Not sure if that one shot connected looked a little weird on my screen. Doesn't matter. They get the kill anyway. Qlash will be up 8-0, 7 minutes in game 1 of this championship series.
I mean, what a way to say that you are the best team in Europe. The people that come the closest to you are getting absolutely ridiculed on their first game into this championship series. Nothing they can do. It's complete domination in the map left, right, and center. Doom as well, outputting so much damage on this front line as the Kestrel. Take a look at the items that have been prioritized, by the way, especially from Disowned and Leon. You saw tier 2 boots, and Leon has gone for War Treads very early on here as another engage takes place.
Is it an engage or just like a boot stomping trespass under the T2? Leon might drop here. He's taking a lot of damage. Oh, with the Crystal Blade stays alive. Oh my goodness. What a calculator.
Wow. That was just like you said, a stomp, I think, is the best way to describe these particular engages. But if you look at the fact that Disowned and Leon has prioritized movement speed in the form of a tier 3 boots in War Treads, and obviously Disowned had his tier 2 boots before he'd even got a heavy prism, that tells you everything you need to know about the playstyle of Disowned and Leon here. They look to shove and rotate, shove and rotate, shove and rotate, and they always are putting their pressure in the top lane because that's the one lane that gives a late game get out clause, as Solicitude again is the target.
Solicitude easy out of this one by death. You'll respawn in about 15 seconds, but nice easy recall back home.
I love it as well because if there's one particular hero that you're going to be worried about as Qlash getting towards the late game, it would be a weapon power kinetic. And by just constantly rotating out of mid lane to the top side of the map where doesn't seem to be a duo jungle synergy up there with the kinetic, you are just punishing that. I mean, Solicitude is now only on a Serpent's Mask if you look at Doom on his counterpart. 1.5 items ahead. I mean, look at Doom. Look at Doom. He just absolutely obliterates Cracks there.
Yeah, that was 2 glimmers and like 1 basic attack. This is a tough place to be in. Like, Cracks obviously feels like he needs to get something done, tries to go for the invade, but he gets spotted out. Once they have that information, it's so easy to collapse down onto him. And you can call this an escalator composition, but it feels like the escalator's broken.
Yeah, it's the first few steps unfortunately got broken away, and now they've got nowhere to go. And like you said, it is going to be a slower process now. The stairs is going to have to be their only option. Leon
looking for the engaged. Cracks. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's like trying to trade with Disown, but he's going to get melted. I'm the Doom, a squishy target. This will be the first kill on the board for SLY. I believe the Blast Trimmer also came through in that engage, but there was nothing to follow at the end of it. 1 for 1 because Qlash a little overzealous. It's a tasty little Solar Storm, but will not be finding a kill.
I mean, but you've got to the point in the game now where you have a Celeste who's post level 8, and you can see another engage. I mean, this is Sneaky's just dead, right? Sneaky's just.
It's not even the engage. It's like SLY obvious. Oh, that's a one-shot 1 kill.
And he gets the kill right there. Cross map snipe. There is no mercy for SLY at this point. Qlash absolutely dominating in their first game, and I just think SLY look lost.
Yeah, it's like because SLY are so far behind that they can't play normally if they have a chance in this game. They have to go for steals in situations where there are 4 heroes on a Crystal Treant in hopes that you can steal it and maybe make a god play to get out. And it's going to take like a bunch of these, probably like you'd have to win like 3 team fights and make like 5 of those steals just to be equal in this game. And that's just where they're playing from. That's why it looks a little silly in some of the moves they're making.
Yeah, and you can see Disown's made the power play purchase on Celeste, going for the Shatter Glass. This is an item that you usually purchase in your head, or you're purchasing it to deal with lots of squishy carries, which you do have on the side of SLY. You will looking to burst the Samuel, the Maline, and the Kinetic, obviously. But in this situation, it's a massive power play item because it solidifies a lead that you have, because you're just looking to do that excessive amount of damage. Obviously, Dragon's Eye gives you a later game option, allowing you to make mistakes and scale up. Well, Shatterglass is like, I'm going to win, and I'm going to win now. And going for the Clockwork next should be enough items for Disown to become that backline artillery that we know Celeste can be post level 8.
So if SLY have like a 1% chance in this game, I have to feel it's going to involve like Breaking Point being completed on Solicitude, plus a weapon infusion, plus an over engage once again coming out of Qlash. But Qlash already in the base, and Sneaky man. I don't know if he has like 500 MS lag or what, but he throws the gauntlet when it fell too late. They're going to lose their Samuel. He gets blown apart. Qlash are in the base, into the armory. I haven't checked this clock. I didn't know my clock's broken. This is sub 12 minutes here, and it feels like it's about to be GG if one mistake comes out of SLY.
Yeah, it's certainly looking that way. I mean, SLY at this point, they have to somehow turtle. They have to try and get back what is now a 13,000 gold disadvantage. Leon overextending slightly, probably going to give up his life here. Unfortunately, just with a little bit of BM there, and is punished. The rest of Qlash, though, still are likely in a position where they can 4 versus 5. You know, they have such strong item power spikes and level power spikes over their opponents.
Nomad,
they're even trying to go for
dropping low. Agony as well, though, but maybe Agony can kind of like debate them into this fight, thinking they can get a kill. One shot connects onto Swan 2. He's not incredibly tanky. Netherform Detonator onto 3, slaps him with some pretty good little damage there. Gets turned around, and Kinetic actually finds the kill like Scoundrel. This is exactly what SLY needed. Leon's respawned on the map, but SLY continue. Active camo down. Is it going to proc? Cracks able to avoid it, but they still get the kill. Just Man, what a legend. He turns around, takes down Maline. He's still alive. I'm the Doom. Another active camo turns around. He's going to take down It's all over.
Oh, no way. I am the Doom, the single best Kestrel in the world, still showing that he's got what it takes. What incredible kiting from him, but what incredible team play as well. They just so happened to play around the active camo trap, and Doom kited back so nicely. They're Disowned also cleaning up with the ultimate, but it was all about that bait into a couple of active camo traps that let Doom kite backwards, and SLY, they were so desperate for the kills, they fell right into it.
That was the dream kite right there. Man. Not much to say about that. They just played it incredibly well. Granted, they are very far ahead of their opponents, so it was a little bit easier to make that play. But SLY had to have an idea that there was a chance that was going to happen. They were baited in. I'm the Doom dropping that low. It felt like an important kill. So psychologically, they're going to try and make that play.
Yeah, I like what they're doing here as well, by the way. They are using the fact that they've got nothing really to take in the mid lane and allow Blacklaw to provide that distraction while they go for something like the side lane inhibitor you can see here. Very aggressive play, though.
Qlash, I'm not sure that I'm going to play-by-play this one. They're just going to get run over, but Qlash have done this for the last couple weeks. Every single time they get a Blacklaw, if there's even like a base turret up, they split push the other lane, and they've gone generally as 5 almost every single time. And it looks like SLY are just melting down, kind of as expected. Qlash wraps this one up, 14 minutes in here. But I was kind of thinking to myself, like, if they met, like, an equal opponent as you got into the championships, then potentially this is something that their opponent could take advantage of. Whatever the case, that's not happening here. Maybe our analysts back at the desk can break this one down for us a little bit more.
What a performance coming out from Qlash. Game number 1 of our championship match, and they managed to absolutely roll over SLY 26-4.
Yeah, incredible performance from Qlash. I mean, absolutely looking like the favorite that they are in this matchup. It's going to take a very, very big effort from SLY to come back from this game and be able to make this into a full-on series. But right now, it looks like this is going to be Qlash's championship to win.
And that last major team fight near Blacklaw was honestly
so good.
Masterclass.
So
I wish I
good.
could rewatch that right now. But before we jump into game number 2 of this series, I want to remind you guys of our Poker Go format for the tournament. We can take a look. Obviously, this is going to be how NA is happening as well. It's going to be best of 3 single elimination. We're into the very last best of 3 for Europe as we're into our championship game.
Yeah, it took 5 weeks to get here, but it is here now, and we are in the midst of that final series. And you can see this is what they are playing for. This is what's on the line. One of these 2 teams will get $3,000. One of them will walk away with $1,500, and it's obviously third place going to have $500 as well. $5,000 in each region.
Yeah, absolutely. Rising Lotus already netted that $500 for themselves, and we'll see which of these 2 teams is going to be able to grab that 3,000. Right now, it looks like Qlash.
Looking pretty heavily like it's going to be Qlash.
Let's take a moment to appreciate. We said I'm the Doom was the player to watch coming on into this series.
And he was spectacular.
He
was
in that last team fight. His kiting
on the Kestrel. But I also want to talk about Disowned a little bit as we get into the draft for game number 2, and the way that they recognize, okay, late game threat, the biggest threat late game is going to be this Kinetic. So they constantly were rotating up top and killing Kinetic, making sure that she could not have an impact late in the game.
Absolutely. Interestingly, Qlash only throwing away 1 ban this time around. They decide to remove that Churnwalker from the running. And it's also going to be Kensei and Reza taken off the board. Still a fair few power picks available, though. That Kinetic that we saw in game 1, still available. Kestrel as well, but Grumpjaw going to be the first lock-in. Qlash now, they kind of have the pick of the litter on where they want to go with their composition.
Yeah, obviously the Grumpjaw is a very strong early game pick, and this seems to be what SLY wants to do, is go for this early game strength. They tried to do it in game number 1, but unfortunately we're not able to match what Qlash brought to the table. We'll see with Grumpjaw, maybe this is going to be a key for them in getting that early game advantage.
Yeah, I'd love to see something more from them as well. When it comes to the mid lane, when it comes to their sideliners, more early game power. I'd love to see maybe you know, something like a Maleen mid so that they can actually contest this early game, because that's where they lost. Like, once Qlash had that lead from the early game, there was no coming back at that stage. They need to contest early. They need to go for these aggressive picks. The Grumpjaw and the Tony, I absolutely love. Now we need to have some carries that can back them up in those early skirmishes.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting that big damage. Flicker could also be another one of these picks that can excel early on and can set you up for some strong plays in the mid game especially. So we'll see where they decide to go. They actually take the Kestrel away, making sure that I'm the Doom does not get his hands on that hero.
Interesting. They're going to steal the Kestrel away from I'm the Doom. Gwen will be an instant lock-in there. I'd imagine that's a pretty decent matchup, especially if you can hide behind a Catherine. They did hover for a Catherine for a second there, but deciding the Celeste is more important right now.
Yeah, and this is, again, another triple carry composition. They already had the Samuel, so now Celeste or Samuel, likely to be Samuel going either into a top lane or the jungle.
Really important to mention, they've actually swapped out the mid laner. Disowned is subbed out so Imagination can play a game, because this feels like a victory lap right now for Qlash, and they want everyone on the roster
game
to
number
have
1,
a go.
absolutely. And it is going to be the Flicker getting picked up here for the side of SLY. And now where do they go to round out this composition? I still feel like they need another carry on this team, because really Grumpjaw, Tony, not going to be doing enough damage to win you a team fight, and they do grab the Maleen to be their final pick. So not a lot of durability on this team aside from the Tony, and obviously Flicker can build very tanky and likely will, but there's not a lot of peeling potential for this side.
There's not a huge amount of CC on the lineup, but I like what they've done here. They've gone and basically said, we have to win early. We're going to play kind of a win lane, win game strategy where if we win the first few skirmishes, we can just snowball and run away with things. Qlash on the other side,
That's a
kind
big
of going
team
for
fight.
Yeah, going a bit later.
There's a lot of team fighting potential within that composition. You have Samuel, Arden with the Gwen, and then you throw an Adagio on top of that. There's so much area control within this composition that it's pretty much just, they're just saying, you know what, you guys, even if you win the early game against us, when it comes to when everyone's grouped up, you don't stand a chance with this composition.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how SLY are going to change things up. Coming into game number 2 here, it's about time that we find out, though. We're heading into game number 2 of our championship match. It's time to find out who is going to be our European champions here, as I pass it back over to Humanist and Scout.
We are on the rise for Game 2 between SLY and Qlash here in the VPL Summer Open EU Championship. My name Humanist. I'm joined by a Scoundrel, and we are ready to go.
My name is Scoundrel. I'm here too.
I love Lamp.
So let's have a look at the changes that we've had coming into this. Doom is going to be on Gwen, and I'm sure he's going to be saying "Gotta get good" to Sly, because that is exactly how the Sly are going to have to change their entire approach to this game, because they have not stood up against Qlash. Qlash absolutely dominated them, although you can see here going for the split across the two CP buffs. Sly are not going to give their own up that easily. But they aren't using too many members to contest it, and this looks like an overall decent trade for Qlash, although it actually ends up going over to Nomad, and as well as you can see in the top side of the map, the own weapon power buff has been taken away by Sneaky there, so actually it's a 3-buff trade right now to Sly.
Just man, slingshotting Agony back. He'll take a lot of damage. Grumpjaw coming down. Actually, it felt like he had a nice sandwich. Solicitude turns around to drop a little bit of damage, but he ends up being first blood. It's really not what you're looking for, team. Sneaky pulled off of that. And maybe a bit of miscommunication coming out of the team there. Also, Sneaky pulling one of my favorite excuses out of his pocket. He said, I was connected to the wrong Wi-Fi, man. So maybe that's going to be a little bit of difference here in Game 2.
That's my favorite excuse as well, actually. Whenever I feed in solo queue, which is a lot, it's always about the wrong Wi-Fi.
It's true. I don't even watch you. I just know I just know that's the truth.
You ask any European player, I'm terrible. All right, Nomad looking to be aggressive on this Flicker. It's something that you can be. I mean, Flicker has been single-handedly made good in this current update just by the existence of Pulse Weave. That is the only item in the world to make Flicker good. It's the first time in VG's history that Flicker has ever been good, but Nomad unfortunately is not, and he dies.
Not true. Didn't DefQ play like an amazing Flicker back at like 2016 championships?
Yeah, I think that was like... Flicker in 3v3 was kind of different. In 3v3, and Flash X also played a really good Flicker once for TSM. The Flicker in 3v3 could dominate just by constantly maintaining vision control through scout trap clearing, and he's very, very snowbally. For the Flicker in 5v5, vision is way too hard to clear for Flicker, and so he became like very useless, and he was very easily spotted out on the map. Whereas now you've got this Pulse Weave build that you can build with Flicker, and it's made him actually fairly useful because you can Pulse Weave and rush in with your increased movement speed on the stealth that you get as well. That it just actually makes him a fairly useful hero in general.
I really like the fact that Flicker is being used. I think it's a very fun kit and quite effective as well. Fairy Dust onto Leon. Leon taking a good amount of damage, but they turn around onto Cracks, and the Wicked Escapade. They turn around, they blow up the Samuel, they get the Gwen as well. Sly just 1, 2 left, right punches. They land him now, getting into the jungle. Sneaky, a little nom-noms on that weapon tree. It feels pretty good, huh, Scoundrel?
Dude, that was a very sneaky rotation. They slithered up towards that CP buff. They rotated their entire 5 units, and this is something that I've seen a lot of teams do. They don't change their second rotation plan, even when the enemy team has seen their first attempted rotation split. So you saw that they split Doom and Agony off towards that top side CP buff, and then they all went for their own CP buff and tried to do a 2 CP buff trade. That was noticed very early by Sly. Doom and Agony showed up on that side of the map again, and immediately Sly put their entire 5 members there. That was a really, really good rotation, and it looks like they're not done yet.
Ooh, they're not done yet. They're going for more. Oh, Sneaky's connected to the 5G. Let's go. We're making it happen. Sneaky hasn't even shopped yet. Look at this man. 1,900 gold in his bank account.
I'm not going to lie to you.
Lie to me, baby.
I'm not going to lie to you because I'm telling you the truth right now. If I had made a update 3.6 meta list, which I probably should have done but didn't.
Yeah, if you wanted to continue your successful YouTube.
Yes, but I was very busy this month, unfortunately. However, I would have had Grumpjaw as one of my best top laners in the update. Grumpjaw is legit sleeper right now. If people aren't playing Grumpjaw, they should be playing Grumpjaw. He's an incredible, incredible power pick, I think, just because of that buff to his living armor specifically. I love Grumpjaw right now. And,
what was it, like 1% per stack?
I think it was it? Yeah, maybe it was 1 or 2%
I'm not
per
sure,
stack.
But it actually, I mean, it adds up. It adds up to be like quite effective.
Yeah, it's a big boon, I think, in terms of his overall survivability, and he's perfectly placed for a 2v1 lane. He's got escape, he's got wave clear, he's got damage reduction naturally built into his kit. I mean, that's what more could you ask in unfavorable 2v1 matchups?
I don't know. Maybe that he spends 2,400 gold over down in the bottom jungle. Crystal Giant being contested here, but it's Solicitude that grabs it. Solicitude's going to be double buffed. And SLY, I don't know if they just like boosted up with a couple shots of espresso between games or what is going on. Sneaky's going to be finding I'm the Doom. 320 damage on that Grumpy. Now also finding Agony. Are they going to get in? They get Agony. Flicker takes that kill. SLY are up 5-2. I don't know if maybe I was going to say is the overlay wrong, but no, but we're in game. I'm looking. They got team tags right here. And what, my eyes are my eyes deceiving me?
As soon as Disowned leaves, everything goes to pot for Qlash. What is going on right now? Just one member, he must have been holding the ship together. Disowned must be the guy that holds the ship together and tells Qlash not to int it really hard. Because because right now, Qlash, they don't seem to be adapting to, and to be honest, SLY are the ones that are making the more positive movements on the map. I mean, Qlash just trying to pull off that same CP buff rotation 3 times in a row. SLY, they got your number, dude. They've got your number.
Got your number. I've also got Scoundrel's number if anyone wants to DM and get those digits. But right now, 6.5 minutes in, 5-2, SLY's up. They have a small net worth advantage. It's got to feel good. I mean, not only just the actual advantage in game, but that psychological advantage that it gives to you as players. And oftentimes, even like teams that are completely even in skill, sometimes it's just confidence that puts you over the top.
Absolutely, but here we go, Qlash moving forward. That's Nomad going low, but the rotations from SLY are good.
Yeah, Nomad able to slip out of that engage there. It's pretty important that he doesn't go down. With that, Sneaky will be able to clear out some vision on the top side of the mid lane. Qlash are not having any of this business. They're like, yo, we're not losing another crystal buff team. We're 5-man in this one.
They are 5-man. Good, because they needed to. But it looks like SLY, they are happy to look for a fight right now. They have level advantage. They have that HP advantage too. And with Ghostwing being up, if they can take this fight and win it, it benefits them in total to win this fight.
That goes over to Agony. So it's a nice snipe out by Agony. I was about to say, like, as that was happening, it's just Kestrel, one of the best when you get into that kind of contest situation. But they drop down immediately onto the Ghostwing. Ghostwing down to 50% health quickly. Qlash will move down. Leon's dropping low. Gauntlet comes down out of Just Man. Solicitude. Everybody's inside the Gauntlet.
Oh, that Leon ultimate!
Huge damage. That will control them enough for Qlash to come through and play the cleanup game. Double kill comes out for Agony. They only lose Leon, and now it's a very simple Ghostwing take for them. Sneaky would have thrown away his life if he even tried to jump in on that one. A complete disaster.
What did Nomad crucible? Did he crucible something else? Was it the gauntlet, maybe?
Maybe he tried to crucible and everybody runs out of the gauntlet. I don't know.
Well, because yeah, I think that might have been it. I basically just wasn't quite paying attention. I just thought
sometimes in the middle.
Yeah, I just assumed that Qlash were walking into their death. So I was like, no, don't worry. This is just going to be an easy int by Qlash again.
Leon dropped super low, right?
Yeah, but Leon dropped in, but he knew that the amount of fortified health he generated would be enough to allow him to channel that ultimate off. That was the key part of that fight. The reason he did it, I assume, is because he saw Nomad, the only crucible on the team, get burnt, knowing he's going to get an absolute free ultimate off with the fact that he's gone War Tread's Crucible again, giving him that ability to reposition so easily. That was a very heads-up play.
It feels like even if that Crucible gets burned and the verse doesn't land, it's still a good call because you have a lot of other stuns, like you have an Oblivion, you have a Core Collapse, you have Aces High. We'll come back to that as they find Solicitude down in bottom. Solicitude tries to bob and weave, won't be able to dodge the damage coming out. And this will be the score tied up 6-6, 9 minutes in, as net worth lead is now in favor of Qlash.
That one swing play was enough to put Qlash back in the driving seat. It shows you the differences. That's a brilliant stun.
Onto Cracks, getting blown up, drops into a wicked escapade. War treads forward. Cracks, there's nowhere to go. As Vantu tries to help his buddy with a little bit of trash talk, but it's going to take more than some harsh words.
Wait a second. Imagination.
I was like, Sneaky, are you going to stay on this? Obviously, Qlash see it. They were going to rotate over. And because that T1 turret is still up, they will be able to get out of that one.
Safantu here doing his best to try and clear that wave up. They will be able to save that first tier turret for now. And Qlash being as low as they are with a couple of pots burnt here and there, probably just going to look to reset after this, although you can see there is an aggressive push towards this Crystal Treant. And again, it is Solicitude trying to find that snipe with the Glimmer Shot.
Not going to get it. It goes over to Imagination. That's the target that they wanted on. And Qlash got to feel good about that one.
Yeah, man. I mean, they've probably been feeling pretty good since that Ghost Wing take. That was a glorious Ghost Wing take for them. And that's allowing them to be super aggressive with these Leon-initiated rotations. Here we go, Solicitude.
Oh, they're getting so sweaty since they lost the early game. Solicitude, melted. I'm gonna go ahead and look for more, but this is a tanky Tony. He'll be able to get himself out of that one. That's a War Treads into Verse, plus the whole team just raining damage down. Healing Treant will be taken away. Weapon Treant will be taken away. The Vision that was dropped down by the Gold Oak will be taken out as well. Qlash take 2/3 of the bottom jungle, and in fact, they might even get this Gold Oak as well. Tony's gonna be forced out of this one. Aces high, off the mark, and they indeed get that Gold Oak. A very successful invade. In fact, there was even an engage happening up in top. This is a 2v2, Cracks and Sneaky looking for Leon or Agony. Solar Storm off the mark. I think you got to be careful, Sly. Like, you need to get this and get out. I wouldn't even be here, honestly, right now. Well, maybe that's why I'm not the professional player. They move in. Fairy Dust out from the Flicker, trying to slow up Qlash. Doom taking a lot of damage out of Solicitude. Winds up with the one shot. Connects onto Imagination. They juggle the damage. Sneaky trying to get on target. He wants to get stuffed up, but he's hungry, doesn't have the range, and that Gold Oak actually did go over to Qlash, I do believe. And so that's going to be a weapon buff that went over to Cracks in the end. And I don't know. Sly get a little bit done, but not enough, was it?
Yeah, I mean, there is no fountain right now for... Or there is, we're working towards a fountain, but there's no that sort of fountain right now. So when they were that low, the only heal that they had was realistically Leon's Gift of Fire, which is obviously, like, you know, a very slow heal for a single target. They're going to go for the Ghost Wing on rotation now. They have a couple of those healing flasks left up. They had just reset and bought, which puts them in a strong position. And you can see Sly are still very low at this point in time.
We have a major misstep coming out of Sly. Like, Sneaky, instead of pushing the top lane down, rotates down to his team. Ghost Wing's already taken. They have to win this fight. There's a huge throw. Sneaky able to grab the crystal buff. This is pretty good so far. Solar Storm tears on through Sly. They're all dropping low. Agony into the Drifting Dark. Needs to connect on this Malice and Verdict. He will clip the Flicker, find the kill. Cracks this Fontu. You can't even hang around here. They have to back. This should mean... Well, it would be a turret going down, but Black Claw's on the menu, guys. We're 12.5 minutes in, and this should be a fairly easy take. Do you expect Sly to try and contest this? They are low. This feels so dangerous.
No, I don't think you can contest this if you're Sly. I mean, you have to...
The Leon was dead right there, but he's gonna get Sneaky is stuffed up, pulling Leon. He keeps Leon alive. The one shot still connects. Oh my goodness. Tip Sneaky later.
And Leon can just heal back up with a Gift of Fire now. He's going to get back to a fairly respectable HP. There's no way you can contest this Black Claw.
He was dead, right? Like, he was taunting.
I know, absolutely dead, and it was just an overkill to go for the Grumpjaw ultimate. There was no need for it. It just bought him time to get a Gift of Fire reset.
Oh, man. It's one of those situations where, like, that, you know, your own ability can come back to hurt you. It's tough sometimes, just knowing. I mean, I'm sure Sneaky knows that in the end he shouldn't have pulled the trigger on that one, but now they're playing from behind even further, and they really had a great opportunity to take that Adagio and contest that Black Claw. Even without Adagio, this is very much easier for Sly to get in there. Now Gauntlet comes down. Sly will be able to slip out of that as the T2 turret does drop down. Sneaky has flank position. His team is pretty low though, as this first base turret just gets dropped down. It's gonna have to be something pretty crazy out of Sly if they're going to contest this successfully.
Leon's looking for the ultimate.
Oh, Aces high into the Verse. Good night, Solicitude. Trash Talk will pull I'm the Doom back just a little bit, but there's nothing to follow up. And this feels like an absolute desperation stand. All Qlash have to do is just focus down the Vein Crystal if they want to end the game. But how about you pad those stats? Get some more eliminations per game, as they will actually pull Leon and the Arden back into that healing platform. Doesn't matter. Good night, Sly, as the hopes and dreams of all Qlash haters melt. Qlash take the final series of the VPL Summer Open and take this championship 2-0 in a dominating fashion. Game one, a lot more dominating. Scoundrel.
Yeah, it was a brilliant performance by Qlash. I don't think anybody contesting that they are just the best team in Europe right now. Congratulations, they are our European VPL winners. And the only piece of analysis that I'm going to throw in is I like the Pulse Weave on Sneaky in the top lane, but there needed to be 2 Crucibles versus this team. You needed 2 Crucibles, and that really shut you down early.
Sounds right to me. But we do have 2 analysts, maybe a host and analysts back at the desk. Let's throw it over to them.